Ladies and gentlemen, there have been several attempts through the years to relaunch Twilight Zone in the mid 1980s, in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and of course the most recent one. But there was a movie kind of pilot, not say it was directly going to lead into a series, but it was well put together. It's called Twilight Zone: Rod Serling's Lost Classics. Came out in 1994 by CBS. It was an American made-for-TV fantasy supernatural horror film consisting of two stories by Rod Serling. The film was co-produced by Serling's widow Carol, and reportedly she found the two pieces in a trunk in the family's garage. The first and shorter segment, entitled A Theater, was expanded and scripted by the great Richard Matheson from a Serling outline. It starred Gary Cole and Amy Irving. Ironically, Amy Irving was a paramour of Spielberg, who helped put together Twilight Zone, the movie, in the mid-1980s. The longer segment, Where the Dead Are, was a complete script Serling penned in 1968. Patrick Bergin and Jack Palance starred. Because it was written 4 years after the end of the original series, this was not originally a Twilight Zone story, but filled out the 90 minutes. The tales have thematic echoes of stories about unnaturally prolonged longevity, such as Oscar Wilde's A Picture of Dorian Gray, Edgar Allan Poe's The Facts in the Case of Monsieur Valdemar, and H.P. Lovecraft's Cool Air. James Earl Jones, who appeared in Serling's movie The Man in 1972, narrated the special. Executive producers were Michael O'Hara, music, and Lawrence Horowitz, music by Patrick Williams. Producer was S. Brian Hickok. Cinematography, Jacek Laskus. Editor, David Beatty. Running time, 89 minutes. And production company was O'Hara Horowitz Productions. And, of course, distributor was CBS. Original release was on May 19th, 1984 on CBS as part of May Sweeps. Now, in the first segment, and this was very interesting, Melissa Sanders, the lead of the piece, goes into the theater to see the classic film His Girl Friday. She sees scenes from her own past involving her fiancé, James, Gary Cole. No one else can see these scenes. At first, Melissa thinks it's a practical joke plotted by James, but when she returns to the theater, she's seen scenes of her future, in which she is killed by a bus on March 20th. When she tells James about it, he assures her it will never happen. After it does happen, James visits the theater and sees scenes from his own life. Now, this was pretty strong. I give it a 2.5 out of, or 3 out of 4. Gary Cole has always been a strong actor, and he plays kind of an everyman in here, but Amy, she's okay. But like I said, a better actress like Pam Dauber, who was in the revival of Twilight Zone 85, or like Karen Valentine, might have done a better job. Now, James Earl Jones gives great narration in both segments, and he pushes the plot. Now, the second part, the longest one, Where the Dead Are, is a very interesting Civil War themed tale. Now, 3 years after the end of the conflict, a university professor and former Union Army surgeon, Dr. Benjamin Ramsey, played by Patrick Bergin, performs an appendectomy on a patient named O'Neill, who dies seconds later. Ramsey noticed a severe skull fracture, as O'Neill had endured one 12 years earlier, one that no one could have survived. Ramsey travels to a mysterious island to seek answers from Dr. Jeremy Wheaton, played by Jack Palance, who used to experiment with tissue regeneration. They discuss O'Neill, and Wheaton reveals that he's found a method to revive the dead. He explains that all the apparently living people on the island were once dead. Later that night, Wheaton dies himself. The island's inhabitants, who have become accustomed to the impermanence of death, attack Ramsey, blaming him for Wheaton's inability to overcome his own death. Ramsey fends off the onslaught until morning, and as the ferry to the mainland arrives. Before leaving, he finds a note from Wheaton's niece in which he claims she also died, as revived by her uncle. Ramsey decides not to tell his university colleagues about Wheaton's discovery, because the natural order requires that all living things must die. Now, very strong review of this in Entertainment Weekly by Ken Tucker, and of course Richard Masson in the Matthew R. Bradley article in tor.com. Now, I would say that IMDb is the best, what do you call, judge of the importance of the movie. And this is kind of weird. Like if you look at Night Gallery, this has been some good scripts for Night Gallery, but I don't think Jack Laird would have saw this as important as the because of the heavy Twilight Zone aspect. Each episode went past a half-hour length. based on 1.2 thousand reviews, 6.2 out of 10. And like I said, it holds up because it moves pretty fast, ladies and gentlemen. But Jack Palin's well known for playing Dracula and different holds up the second segment. But Gary Cole, again, he's always believable in everything he does, because Gary Cole, a very strong actor. And Gary Cole was on the most recent revival of Twilight Zone, so he's what goes around comes around. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our latest podcast in the Rod Serling oeuvre. Besides Night Gallery, if you like what we're doing here on our reviews on television classics, please let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And don't forget, requests are always appreciated and always highly considered. Thanks for listening. Bye.